Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Attack on Titan Season 4. We are on episode 20, so it is officially 420 in the world of Attack on Titan. And I could do with one, just to chill me out a bit, because the last episode was insane. It was definitely up there with like the best episodes of the show, and I think for me personally, it's probably my favourite episode of the show. There may be a bit of recency bias with that, you know what I mean? But for right now, it deserves that spot, because it wasn't, like, it never let up. From start to finish, it just kept going. Shock and awe throughout. Like, so many surprises. I mean, if we start at the very beginning, it was, Cold and Falco, they managed to get to Zeke to try and persuade him to not scream, because Falco obviously has the spinal fluid within him. Zeke, like I anticipated, did end up screaming anyway, because he didn't have the luxury of not screaming at that particular moment. The way things went, for his plan to succeed, he had to go through with it. So he screamed. That meant that we, had Falco, Nile, and Pixis all turning into Titans. So I'm pretty sure that Nile and Pixis are completely gone now. I don't see any of them taking over some Titan shifters. So I think they're gone. It sucks. Pixis has been there for a long time, and he was always cool. So it sucks to see him go. And we saw Falco as a Titan. He's got this weird look about him where he's got this like elongated neck like a giraffe, and he immediately charged after Reiner. And it looked for a moment that he was actually going to get through, and Reiner was going to allow him, because another shock. Commander Magath had shot Zeke again, so there was like a period of the episode where we didn't know. Well, we did know. I don't think anyone actually believed he died there, but the characters did, and therefore Reiner was like, "Well, that's it then. That's pretty much all we had to do." So he was willing to let himself actually go out, and like always, he refuses to die, and because the reason is that Porco, who had been basically beaten badly in this whole fight, he never stood a chance against Eren or anything like that. He was just bloodied and bruised. He come to the realization that he was the one that was going to give up his life, and so he did. And he ended up being eaten. So there's another shock. And then from that moment on, using that sort of time to get away, Eren got out of his Titan, started running towards Zeke so they could touch and use this power, and he got shot by Gabby and his head came flying off. I can't even. This just keeps going on. It's mad. So that happens, and then we have this whole fucking amazing animated scene, so well done by Mappa, incredible scene, where it's going down, the sort of the street, obviously towards where everything's happening, and shit's, and your mind's being blown at every second. And Zeke, being the amazing baseball player that he is, catches Eren's head, and because his head had only been removed from his body for a certain amount of time, it was enough time to make the connection and get him basically into the area where the pathways are and Ymir is and everything like that. So I assume he's going to be rebuilt, like they kind of talked about and described. So he's not obviously dead. And then there was this whole talk between them in this place where Zeke we found out was actually playing Eren the whole time. Amazing. amazing episode. So yeah, we ended it off with basically Zeke saying that that he's not going to just give up on Eren, but it seemed as though what he was talking about was he was going to actually use the royal family power thing that he has to essentially impose his will upon Eren, similar to what the royal family did with the people inside the walls. Where that will kind of carries on to whoever had the founding Titan, right? So it seems as though that's the way that it's going with it. Whether or not it actually works on Eren, I feel like would be fucked. I feel like there has to be a way for Eren to not get to not carry on with that, because then it obviously diminishes Eren's character of him being the one to push forwards. But we'll see. That's all I'm going to talk about. I think we have to get into the actual episode now, but damn, it was amazing. So I can't wait to see what we get in this next episode. So yeah, we are going to get into it. So as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken down for copyright in the future, I will re-upload this as a discussion only, and a link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, a link to the full length reaction to this episode is in the description below, so if you do want to watch the my reaction in full to this episode and all the episodes I do, then link is down there in the description. But nothing else to really talk about, so we are going to get into episode 20, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Eren is a baby. Right.
Grisha イエーガーがいかにして息子を洗脳し、お前に民族主義を植え付けたのか。
Okay.
わかるまで何度も。行くぞ。
It's like the ghost of Christmas, like, past.
医者の肩書きを利用して権力者にすり寄り出したぞ。壁の王を追求し、始祖の巨人を奪うためだ。
Yeah, we were aware of that before, right?
俺は間違ってた。生まれるべきじゃなかった。洗脳が解けたよ。
that's a bit too easy. I don't think Zeke's gonna believe that. Come on, Eren, be smart. If you're gonna play him, at least wait, like, make it seem like you've changed. You know what I mean? Like, he's only been in there 5 minutes and he's he's already saying, yeah, I've been brainwashed. Oh no! Is this where he goes in to take them?
こんなに早く突き止めていたなんて。壁の王の根城だ。
Yeah.
そんなはずはない。まだ何年も先だ。
Did he stop? He might have stopped for his family. Oh my god. Dude! I guess obviously he's using, like, maybe Eren's, like, memories of it. Oh god.
俺とはまるで大違いだな。さすがに前回の失敗を踏まえているようだ。ごめんな。ジーク。
How is this gonna change him?
ジーク。そこにいるのか。
What is going on? What is happening right now? He can sense him there? Is that what it is? He added man. He's seen him, like, from the future.
次の記憶だ。ジーク。
Oh my god. It's like turned around. Now Eren's taken Zeke through memories of the future. Yeah, I think Grisha was, yeah, he's basically saying Zeke in the future because
お前は父親に洗脳なんてされていなかったと。だとしたら、なぜお前は俺を裏切った？始祖の力を使ってどうするつもりだったんだ？
he is planning on, like, ending the conflict just in a different way.
生まれた時から他人から自由を奪われるくらいなら、俺はそいつから自由を奪う。
Yeah, he's
生まれた時から。あんたが望んだ哀れな弟はどこにもいない。ただここにいるのは父親の望んだエルディア復権を否定し続けることでしか。
Yeah.
自身を肯定できない男。安楽死計画はいつでも遂行できる。
Will he though?
だが俺はお前を決して見捨てない。世界を救う前にたった一人のお前を救いたいんだ。
Yeah. After that, he gave the key to Eren. He sees Eren now. This is episode 1. It's been so long since then, man. We're actually going to get to see, like, Grisha's side of it.
エレン、どうして外に出たいんだ？
知りたいんだ。外の世界がどうなっているのか。
I love the rehash of the old season 1 OST.
一生壁の中で過ごすなんて嫌だ。それにここで誰も続く人がいなかったら、今までに死んだ人たちの命が無駄になる。
エレン、
See, I think that's when he knew.
帰ったらずっと秘密にしていた地下室を見せてやろう。
Man.
私は壁の外から来たエルディア人。今すぐ壁に攻めてきた巨人を殺してください。妻や子供たちが、壁の民が食われてしまう前に。
There's the will of the royal family cutting
から
in.
逃れてはいけません。私は巨人大戦の悲劇で悟りました。誰かが人の手から巨人の力を守らねばならない。世界を守るためには我々は罪を受け入れ滅びゆくほかないのです。
あのお姉ちゃんとは気が合いそうだが、お前はかつてこの記憶を見たと言ったな。そして父親に深く失望した。
私の家は破壊された壁のすぐそばにあり、この壁に住む人々は誰も先祖の
He
犯
wasn't
した
lying.
罪など知らない。
我々がただ何も知らずに世界の怒りを受け入れれば
Completely goes against it.
我々エルディア人だけで済むんです。
Oh, fucking hell.
9つの巨人にはそれぞれの特性がある。私に宿る進撃の巨人にも。この時のために皆がこの記憶に導かれた。進撃の巨人は未来の継承者の記憶をも覗き見ることができる。未来を知ることが可能な
Oh,
のだ。
sick. That's why. That's amazing.
どういうことだ？
That means he knows exactly what's going to happen.
戦の
Insane.
地位で始祖の力を完全に扱えないのは王家といえどあなたも同じ。
They were always meant to be like the attacking founder. Insane. He didn't. What keeps stopping him?
私に子供を殺すことなど。
バカな。グリシャは確かに子孫
What
を
the?
奪い、
I don't
この一家を
understand.
虐殺したはずだ。
何をやってるふりだ。早くその男を殺せ。子孫は無敵だ。そいつを殺せ。してよ姉さん。
私たちの楽園が壊されちゃう。
何をしてる？立てよ父さん。
Maybe because he can.
何をしにここに来たのか。
Oh God!
犬に食われた妹に報いるためだろう。ダイナに、クルーガーに報いるために。
It was Eren that told him to do it. Dude!
住み続けるんだ。これは父さんが始めた物語だろう。
Unreal. Oh God. Yeah, he was never brainwashed. It was always meant to be this way. It was always Eren.
小さな子も潰した。カマキリ。レイスケを殺したぞ。父親以外はこれでいいのか。
Wow.
エルディアはこれで本当に救われるのか。本当にこれしか道はなかったのか。そこにいるんだろう。ジーク。
This has got to change Zeke's whole thing. It has to, surely.
お前の望みは叶わない。叶うのはエレンの望みだ。お前なのか。大きくなったな。
Unbelievable.
私はひどい父親だった。
Never thought I'd be seeing this.
ジーク、お前を愛してる。
The soundtrack is insane. That's all he wanted.
エレンを止めてくれ。
What? Oh, 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 come on, dude. Oh. Okay, episode 20. Oh, these episode 20s, man, in Attack on Titan. They're the ones that just give you the breadth of information that I had to go back through again. So if you recall back in season 3, episode 20, it was one of those that I literally had to go back through to get everything that all the information that I possibly could. It's just nuts. I love this show. Like every episode, it just continues to shock, and it's how. It's so genius. Another God, another switch. You know, at the end of the last episode, it was like Zeke was playing Eren all along. Wrong. God, I don't believe it. It's insane. What an insane episode. I had a inkling before the episode kind of started, during the opening, that I was like, we're not going to get back to like Shiganshina and all the thing that's going on there. And I was like, damn it, I want to see what's going on there. And I still do, but like, this is great. This is great. I love info dumps. I love getting all this knowledge. God. Because we spend so long without any knowledge. And it's the same, like, I mean, I don't think I'll ever surpass, like, the knowledge of what came out in Season 3, Episode 20. But it's the same sort of feeling I get. Where it's like, almost like a weight's being lifted off. You know what I mean? Like, I know so much now. I know how things played out. And it's crazy. Memories of the future. It makes, yes, all of this is adding up. All of it. You know what I mean? I spoke in the reaction. I don't know if it'll be part of like the cut 10-minute episode that I put in the, obviously, the, you know, in the reaction. But I said that, like, yeah, Kruger did mention, like, Mikasa and Armin, right? Like way in the past. Because this attack titan has the special ability to know the future. Interesting. So it's like it's built. The story is built like everything was always meant to happen this way. It's destiny that this is how it's meant to happen. Like it was always meant to be, and it's almost like what I'm thinking is that like is Eren like. Eren has to be like the quintessential entity in this story. I mean, that sounds stupid when I say it because obviously he's the main character, he's the protagonist of the show. But like what I mean is that in the in-world, like in that world, he is actually the reason why everything is happening. But it almost feels like it's in a... It doesn't... Well... To say it almost feels like it's in a loop is possibly wrong. But it just feels like because they know the future and seemingly messages sent from the future to the past, it can easily seem like it's just going around in a circle, right? But like the... It's like the idea, because I remember talking about this like not too long ago. It might have been like the back end of season 3, but that's as far back as I think I talked about it. But the first episode is something that is like kind of like, you know, when you're watching it for the first time and the first episode title is like to you in 2,000 years. And I'm wondering, is that like Eren like talking to himself? You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm getting at. Like, that's why like the whole thing of the loop seems to be the case. That it's like to you in 2,000 years, because we did get that information like really early on, right? It's like this is like roughly like the year like 2000. It's like around there, right? And so if you have the date where it's year 0 and it's like this is where the sort of like the beginning thing of the Eldians and the Titans was like created, however the hell it came about, right? That it's like a past message going to the future, but sent from a future you, sending it to you in the future. That's why it seems like a loop, right? God, man, fucking my brain. Jesus, it was my body that didn't know what to do last episode. It's my brain that's like trying to compute all of how it works in this one. It's nuts how it all came about. Right, okay, right. Where do we start? It just explains so much. So yeah, right. We've explained all like, you know, how like that's the Attack Titan's special ability. We were never even. It's a good point. We were never actually told that, and it's interesting because I'm positive I've never asked that question as to, well, what's the Attack Titan's power then? Because like I thought it was. I remember bringing it up like first, like, you know, the first time I think it was the last episode of season 1 right, where like Eren just went insane, and you know everyone basically just told me that yeah, it was just like the art style they chose to go with to see how like like angry and just ready to kill he was. But like after the whole, you know, like even like at the back end of season 3, there was I never asked that question, and I don't know why I never chose to. I think it's because in this show, when you're getting so much information, it's hard to like remember everything that you want to talk about because there's so much going on, you know. It explains Eren's like change in demeanor, you know, because I'm trying to think. It would have been like, it was end of season 3, right? But I thought like the change in demeanor was because he knew about events from the past that obviously Grisha had written down, and therefore that was like, you know, what changed his demeanor. But I think it was when oh god, it's fucking so hard to navigate these because they've been so long in between. Like, you know, being an idiot, I haven't really sorted out my notebooks that well, so it kind of just ends up being a mishmash of like loads of different shows in between. You know, here we go. I'm sure it's the end of season 3. It's somewhere around there. Where are we? There's a moment where they're in. I think it's Historia's like inauguration to be queen or something like that, or maybe not inauguration, but like she kisses or Eren kisses her hand, right? And he gets like a whole boatload of memories, doesn't he? And I'm wondering, is that the moment? Is that the moment that everything changed for him, where he knew about everything that was going to happen? And it makes so much sense if that, like, because I've talked about this like in the, you know, in season 4, like it's like he's not even bothered, and it makes sense that like during the whole point he was never worried or anything like that because he knew exactly how things were going to plan out to a T. But this is the thing. I think the only way to truly, I guess, to see more than just snippets is the Attack Titan and the Found That together. I think that's what like really allows you to see, you know, the future really, like in terms of how events like shape up. Because if we go back to like when Kruger talked about Mikasa and Armin, he kind of just went, I don't know how I know about them, right? Or I don't know who they are. So it's like snippets of things where it's like things come into his head that's from the future that he doesn't understand, but he's just like, he knows to say them because that's the sort of like the Attack Titan. Almost like Eren actually just, see, that's the thing, it's like Eren is telling everyone this. Oh, I need to know God, I'm going back again. I need to know what he said. I would have wrote down the quote of what he said. I should have. I really had to have, right? I had to have. What was it? 21? Yeah, because it was like, I wrote down transcend space and time, and that's all I wrote down, and I was like, how is that possible? You know? And this is where we get that, all of that information. But it was, where did he say it? I didn't write down the quote. I only wrote Kruger knows about Mikasa and Armin. But he said something like, oh, what did he say? What did he say? It was definitely something along the lines of like, look after them or something like that, right? And it makes sense like why he would actually, I don't know, because Grisha in this episode is seen to be very compassionate about like obviously not just his family, but like just children in general. So it could be wrong of me to say like that's why he took in Mikasa, right? Like because he was told by Kruger that one time about Mikasa and Armin. But like, I guess with him being the Attack Titan anyway, at that point, like he probably, you know, it depends because you don't know what snippets of information he's actually getting without the founder there, right? And also, like that's the thing is like it helps when you have contact with the royal family. Like that's what really like gives it out, you know. So I don't know, man. Because that's the thing is like even Eren, like there has been like maybe what like in this battle, for example, in Shiganshina, right? There's been a couple times where he's like, it seems like he's being caught off guard. Like, you know, Zeke being shot and whatnot. Like, it looked like he was actually shocked about that. When Zeke was going to scream, he was like, no, don't. So clearly he's not getting them all as well. So I think that even with the founder, he's not getting the full picture. But once he actually makes contact with a royal family member, with that bloodline, then that's when actually it all becomes clear. Because yeah, I mean that would be mad if Eren was willing to get his head blown off, like intentionally. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, I guess Eren is that like way inclined. I guess that I probably shouldn't be that shocked that he would, but it is insane though. So yeah, you've got to correct me if I'm wrong, because I think that would be the case. I think, like, you know, connection with a royal bloodline member, that's what brings out the whole picture. But even just having the founder and the Attack Titan together, I think, is enough to bring out even more than just having the Attack Titan, for example, you know? It's nuts. I can't believe that Eren was playing Zeke all along. Again. So yeah, it changed his demeanor because he was aware of all future events. But then it's like it's interesting this episode because you get Grisha, who is essentially like Grisha's whole character has completely changed from what you thought that he was. Like it's like he's been battling his ideology throughout like this episode, but obviously throughout his life, or like almost. So the whole idea of wanting to free Eldia and all of that, and then getting the Attack Titan and everything, and then realizing that what he has to go through with is like it's like he has to go and kill kids and everything like that, and you know he breaks down and he's like, why I don't want to kill kids, what am I doing? Like, you know, I'm a doctor, I'm supposed to save lives. That, like, you know, I guess a lot of it comes from his sort of, you know, him spending time in a place where he can actually have a normal life, you know, like he grew up like with, you know, his, like, you know, in that essentially what is almost like a concentration camp, you know what I mean? Like, they're looked down upon and they're kept inside these specific walls, and you know, he had that whole thing of, you know, his sister getting, like, you know, that horrific moment, getting killed off that one dickhead who set you know, his dogs on her, and you know, like, all of that was like, you know, enough. And then obviously his parents he hated because they basically just bowed down to their masters, so to speak. And so he was in this like right sort of mind of like, you know, this is not going on any longer. Like, the restorationists, like, that's going to be his ideology going forward. And then, you know, the whole thing of him getting the Attack Titan goes on, and then he comes to Paradis, and he ends up having this new life where, you know, like, it's a nice life that they're living, you know what I mean? It's peaceful, he can help people, and it's like, you can understand that because he's like in this like new sort of like life that he's living, that eventually that sort of mission that he was, you know, so willing to go through with, started to fade, and then eventually it was just like, you know what I mean, like, what am I doing? Like, you know what I mean, I have such a good life and everything, and he got to the door where it looked like he was going to go in, and he didn't, and he stopped, and he went back, and he, you know, he held Eren, and it was like, you know, it changed, like his whole reason for, you know, for trying to free Eldia and everything like that no longer became a sort of like a priority in his life. And then, yeah, it's like, but the attack titan and everything like that, like, kept, like, you know, kept cropping up. And there was that whole thing that back in episode 1 where we kind of like revisited that whole scene where Eren's like, you know, where Mikasa tells Carla that Eren wants to be in the Scouts, and, you know, he basically comes out and says that he's intrigued of, you know, curious of, you know, past the wall and everything, and like all these deaths will be in vain and everything. And Grisha, listening to that, obviously gives him that sort of, you know, I guess that, because that was when he decided, right? That he was like, right, well, we're going to take you down to the basement. I'm going to tell you all this knowledge that there is beyond the wall, and knowing that, you know, there's going to be an attack on the walls, because that must have been obviously something that obviously cropped into his head from the future, right? That he went to try and stop, like, basically get them to help to you know, to stop that from happening. And I think we have seen that earlier on in the show, like the whole thing that he was actually trying to get them on side a bit. I think that might have been when he actually kissed Historia's hand that we found that memory. But the thing that we didn't know was that whole time of, like, it was actually Eren that was the, like, sort of like the cause of doing this, because Zeke was actually just about, like, he gave up. He didn't even go through with it because he couldn't, and then it was Eren that told him to do it. God, nuts, absolutely insane. And you could see, like, you could tell, like, that whole speech of what the, you know, what Frida is talking about, right? That completely doesn't line up with what, like, it's like, to them it's giving up and essentially repenting for the sins of their forefathers, and it lines up perfectly with Zeke. So it's like, it's a crazy dynamic that you had there, and watching Eren, like, get pissed off at what he's hearing is great. And it's mad that he was the one that told Grisha to go through with it, and he did. And it was like, because you had to, and it's like, oh, it's mad. He comes out and he's screaming to the sky, saying that this is what you wanted and everything, and then he actually sees Zeke. So obviously he was seeing Zeke throughout, and that was great. And having that sort of, like, reunion, like, with them, that was, like, on that. I knew that would have been the time that, like, Grisha was like, because that's all he wanted. Because before that, it was like he ended up seeking out, like, sort of, well, he didn't seek out. Cassava ended up seeking out him, really, but then it was like that kind of fatherly bond kind of ended up being in their relationship. You know, because, you know, essentially, his father didn't, you know, he wasn't a great father when they were together, you know. But hearing him, like, say that I'm sorry and everything like that, and hugging him, and, man, like, I just knew that that's what it was about. And Eren knew that as well. Like, he said earlier in this episode that, like, you know, I'm not going to be, you know, that, like, sort of pushover, like, young brother that, like, you kind of, like, want me to be, that's, like, you know, that's trying to help you out with your sort of past trauma with your, like, daddy issues, kind of, sort of speak. Yeah, I mean, I always felt that was something that was clearly was still like sort of rubbing at Zeke the wrong way. And it's interesting there at the end. Grisha basically says that please stop Eren. But then it's like, well, what do you like? Because that's the thing is like I think Grisha's just in a state of like I don't think he knows really what to do, like what's going on, because he's basically saying to him, like just before that, he's saying that like it's pointless even going against him because everything that'll happen will come to pass. Eren's basically got like the you know what I mean? He's got all the power essentially, and there's no point like going against him. And then in the same vein, he's saying, please stop Eren. So it's like, well, I don't even know he knows what's going on. And if that truly was the case, that you truly wanted him to stop Eren, why is it that you willingly gave the Attack Titan and found that over to Eren? You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like what I say is that Grisha's whole ideology is kind of like, it's like with Grisha, it's like one way and another. It's like ideologies battling against each other like constantly, and he's like basically being a hypocrite to himself, and it's like two different things that he's trying to fight against, So yeah, I don't know. It's absolutely nuts. Like maybe it's like that whole thing of like the Attack Titan, and his ideology from before with the Restorationist battling against and the love of his son battling against the whole his whole thing of he didn't want to be killing kids and doing all of this, and so I don't know, it's just like he became twice really, and that's a character from My Hero Academia if you haven't seen that, but like it's basically that where like it's two different like opposite things going, you know what I mean, and you just don't know what to do. So absolutely nuts, man. I love how it was actually. I love the way that it plays out as well. Like it's not even just the plot twists and the switch ups and everything that happens, and the amount of times it happens is insane. But it's also like how it's presented. Like they actually kind of almost admitted that Eren was in control like the whole time before it was actually imprinted like in the show, like before they actually came out and legitimately said it earlier in the episode when they basically it was when Grisha first kind of saw or sensed, like basically saw Zeke, right, and the old like the bearded man and whatnot, that basically things changed and Eren was like, come on, like we'll go to the next memory, which is obviously what in the first few that we saw, whatever, that Zeke was basically saying the exact same thing to Eren, and it's like Zeke's in control, but then it just flips over, and then you know what I mean. From that point on, it's like no, Eren's actually in control and guiding you through the memories, and it's like that is a slight little sneak peek at the idea that Eren is actually still in control, and that was obviously earlier on in the episode before we actually got it in black and white, So yeah, unreal. So yeah, I love the way that it's presented, not just the the knowledge and the amount of facts and the the switch ups. I just really love it. God, what else? What else, man? Yeah, Eren being born that way, that it was like never a case of Grisha brainwashing him in any regard. It was just that Eren was born this way directly. Everything that was to happen was going to happen. He was always meant to get the the founder and have access to the coordinate and everything like that. God. It's just nuts, man. It is just nuts, isn't it? But I mean, this is the thing, is like, even though we've learned that the Attack Titan and everything can, special ability is to obviously see the future and everything, there has to obviously be a limit on that, surely. Like that's what I was talking about before, is that there has to be just purely based on connection with the bloodline that allows him to see it more clearly and more complete, as opposed to snippets, because then nothing going forward is ever going to shock Eren, right? Now I guess that doesn't really matter, I suppose, if you've got all of the characters around him that's, you know what I mean? And it's what, I guess it's what we're showing. Oh no, we're shown that that matters, I guess, going forward, because it's not the case of like, because I that's the thing, is like, I guess you don't want to go into the, like, all the future episodes, whatever's left of the show, going, well, this is all going Eren's plan anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, anything that happens is meant to happen because Eren saw it happen. And I don't think you want to go into the future of the show obviously thinking that, so there has to be a limit on it, I suppose. But then it's a case of like, because we now know that information, like, there has to be a, because I know I've watched, you know, other shows that it's like it always seemed to be the like a person's plan. I don't want to say who I'm referring to, what I'm referring to, because if you haven't seen it, I obviously don't want to spoil what show it is. But you know, like, I've seen that be the case, but we only ever knew that at the very end of the show. Like that's when it was like, this was the plan all along, and that was like at the very end of the story. Whereas this is still in like in the midst of the show, you know. So I don't know. God, I don't know. I don't even know if there's anything else I really need to talk about, but I just love this. I really love it. Yeah, there was a quote actually that was kind of, I guess, also kind of sneak peeking the idea that you know, the Attack Titan, kind of alongside the whole, you know, Mikasa ramen thing, where the quote was like, you know, the Attack Titan's always been like sort of, I think it's something like always been in the vanguard, or like there's like it always sought freedom. I think that was it, right? Always sought freedom, I think, or always push forward, or something like that. It's one of those, right? And it's crazy that, like, to think, because like whatever started the whole Titans and Eldians thing and everything like that, that if that was if the idea was that, you know, it was always going to be Eldians and no one else, or like the end was always like predetermined, that whoever made it, what was the point? Like, what was the point of it being created if you know? Maybe that's like the big existential sort of like point at the end, where it's like, well, what was the point? I mean, that would be mad, you know what I mean? One of the greatest shows of all time. What was the point? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. But that's the thing with this show, is that, you know, it's the theory craft show. It's the show where you can just talk for hours and hours and hours and come out with all of the theories humanly possible, and you still get it wrong. And you still get shocked by new information. It never ceases to amaze me, this show. It really doesn't. And I think, you know, I keep saying it. I don't see how this is not one of the greatest shows of all time. Not just anime. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I know that, you know, people were looking forward to my discussion for this, because, you know, there were people that were saying that, you know, that this is one that's interesting for discussion. It is going to be that. So I hope that I did you proud. And if I have forgotten something, because I know that when I did season 3 episode 20, I look like an idiot because I made such a horrible fucking mistake about, like, I went on this whole tangent about how, like, what was it? I think Or the oceans like dried up or something like that. When it was clear at the end of that episode, you saw the Attack Titan break a boat in the sea. And it was just like, nice one, Zach. But no, I think I got everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm positive I didn't miss anything, but it was a great episode. I love shit like this where it just, you know, where things are made more clearer. So excellent. That is all I've got though. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, like early access, gives you access to shows a week early. There's the full length, which gives you access to the full length reactions for the shows that I do. And then there's the exclusive tier, which gives you access to the full length movie reactions that I do. So if you want to see my full length reaction to movies, that's the one for you. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.